Hisui achieved. Welcome back to the barbershop. Typhlosion is our next 7-star Tera Raid Den Pokemon, confirmed for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, coming very shortly on April 13th through the 16th, and then again on April 20th, 420 through 423. Pick it up while you can or not. It's probably going to be pretty weak. Typically, this is a lower tier Pokemon, but I've got a full competitive analysis and breakdown for you guys to get into right now. First things first, if you did not know, Typhlosion has the exact same stat, distribution, layout, everything as Charizard. So it's a very, very similar Pokemon to Charizard, only it's not a flying type Pokemon, it's pure fire. Its abilities are the basic Blaze, and then of course Flash Fire as well, which is decent. You can use both, it depends on how you're building this guy, but he doesn't have too many options. Typhlosion has 0 setup moves and pretty weak physical and special coverage. You know, base 100 speed, as you can see, good. You can Scarf it, you can Specs it. 109 special attack, so good at best. There are a lot more harder hitting Pokemon nowadays, so he's kind of been left behind in the power creep, and it's typically always been down there in RU, maybe even NU for a long time in usage. But he does have a very rare stab fire type move in Eruption, which is his go-to. Really, he's a one-trick pony here. Typhlosion in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is going to work best on a, well, in my opinion, on a Sun team to really boost those fire attacks as much as possible. What Typhlosion has done, and it has always done, and will probably continue to do, is have a choice spec strapped onto him, get him in safely, and click Eruption, and preferably in the sun, and hit as hard as possible with that base 150 power. Obviously, Eruption gets weaker and weaker the more damage that you take, so it's really optimal to hit those Eruptions with a full health Typhlosion. After that, on a spec set, which is probably its best set, like I mentioned, to make use of that 109 special attack, you run Fire Blast, right? Fire Blast, Flamethrower, the debate will go on forever. Fire Blast is a little bit harder, but Flamethrower, you're not gonna miss. Fire Blast being 85% accurate, but 20 base power higher than Flamethrower. But typically, you'll see Flamethrower or Fire Blast. Maybe Flamethrowers use a little bit more. Focus Blast is, of course, there to hit Steel types, Dark types. It may be like, example, Tyranitar. And it's one of its best coverage moves, of course, at 70 base accuracy, not reliable at all. And Solar Beam is typically only really going to be used on a Sun team. But if not on a Sun team, this guy has a few other good special moves, and Shadow Ball is there as well to hit things like Dragapult. That could check this guy pretty well, but still a Specs Eruption in the Sun, I think, would OHKO Dragapult. It also gets extra sensory. Unfortunately, it does not get Psychic, but it can maybe hit things like Toxapex decently hard with an extra sensory. Of course, you can do a full search of all of its special moves here, and it doesn't have too much, right? Oh, the other move I want to mention is it does get Lava Plume. Here it is. It's a pretty exclusive move too towards Heatran, just like Eruption for Typhlosion here, but Lava Plume with a 30% chance to burn. There's Overheat as well. So Overheat, Flamethrower, Eruption is going to just very powerful fire moves. Typically, you're going to either run that Blaze or Flash Fire. It boosts up the fire type moves if you get hit with a fire type move with Flash Fire. But a lot of times, it depends if you want to run Blaze or Flash Fire. It kind of depends on your team build. Blaze obviously is going to give you 1.5 at 1/3 health or less, and then Flash Fire is going to give you 1.5 if you get hit by a fire move. So if your team's weak to fire, maybe Flash Fire, go for that. But that's about all he can do on the special side. Shadow Ball, Solar Beam in the Sun, and then fire moves to hit hard as possible. And then you've got your extra sensory and your Focus Blast. And that's about all he did. Of course, you can Scarf it, but it's just not hitting very hard, guys. It doesn't get Trick. It gets a very, very limited status move pool, and I'll show you that in a second. But if you did want to do something crazy and go physical on this guy, it does have actually a pretty decent physical move pool. You could always do something really crazy with this guy, like a Mirror Herb or something like that, or a Blunder Policy. Here I have a Weakness Policy set. It does get access to Flame Charge, so you're going to be able to boost its speed. Now here, you know, if you're going to try to outspeed something. Now, in OU, is this really going to work? No, because there's so much unaware. Dondozo shuts this guy down forever, so did a lot of other things. And it just doesn't have the best bulk either. 78, 78, 85. It can get OHKO'd very easily by powerful hitters in the OU tier and even in the UU tier. here right now. If you did want to run something crazy like a weakness policy, maybe a Tera Fire, maybe Tera Grass, or, you know, Tera Ground, Tera Fairy, as you can see by the coverage I have here, but typically maybe just Fire because you want to just hit as hard as possible. So Flame Charge, you get that speed boost up, you live one super effective attack somehow, right? Maybe you can put in some big work with a Flare Blitz or a Fire Punch or something, or just keep Flame Charge and maybe drop another fire move for like Wild Charge if you wanted to go Tera Electric, maybe to hit Dondozo as hard as possible. Maybe you could do some chip to it before dying. But Flame Charge is there to boost your speed. Then obviously the weakness policy boosts your special attack and your physical attack. Earthquake's there to hit those like rock types, etc. Other fire types. Play Rough to hit those dragons that are going to be able to resist it pretty well. So you pick and choose what you want to do there. Now you could also run the weakness policy Flame Charge set with a special build, you know, Fire Blast, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, something like this, right? And I think obviously Hisuian Typhlosion is going to severely outclass this guy. I see Typhlosion falling down into RU at very best, maybe even NU as he typically does. But there is a kind of a fun physical set for him. Choice Band, you're wasting your time. Then of course on the Sun, I just wanted to kind of point out some other options. If you did want to run a Tera Grass Life Orb set, Solar Beam then is going to hit extra hard, right? In this case, I'd probably want to run Flash Fire to be immune to the fire in the sun, especially if you're a grass type. And then Fire Blast is there. Of course, you can run Flamethrower, Lava Plume, even Overheat, but I'd probably steer away from Overheat and Eruption in this case because you kind of want to end up sweeping. Maybe you can outspeed with a Timid Nature here. Shadow Ball is there to hit, if you wanted to go in OU, to hit the ghost types like Dragapult, that should otherwise wall you pretty hard. And then Rock Tomb is there to hit things like Volcarona, even though if you do win a speed tie, you're gonna and even if you were like a Tera Fire, but in the sun with a Life Orb, Fire Blast may even Oko, like a Volcarona. I didn't run the calc, but that's what it's there for. Rock Tomb, of course, can also lower things speed, and then you can end up hitting extra hard with another coverage move with the Life Orb and in the sun. And if you are, again, at a lower health, you're gonna hit really hard with the fire moves with Blaze, or if you do manage to pick up a Flash Fire. A couple other things of note, heavy duty boots may work well on this guy, especially if you are running Eruption and wanna stay at max health and you don't wanna choice lock yourself. It does have access to boots, especially being a fire type. It's one maybe useful status move here is Will-O-Wisp to predict things that want to switch in on like a special wall to wall you. You can always click Will-O-Wisp and get a burn on them and get out of there. Maybe that might work even well with boots. Otherwise, things like Tera Blast, if you're not going to run in the sun, Tera Blast Grass may work, Tera Blast Electric. But fires love turning into grass types to resist the ground type attacks, the water type, etc. So low kick is there, you know, if you wanted to hit things on the physical side, like I'm always thinking T-Tar for fire types, right? And you don't always want to have to click Focus Blast, and it might not even kill T-Tar anyway. Extra Sensory, again, is just there. I already mentioned it earlier, but for Toxapex, if you wanted to go Tera Electric with a Specs, and you know Pex is everywhere, etc. So Earthquake, Heatran's not here, we don't need it. It doesn't get like Trick or anything like that to be able to trick like a Dondozo or a Toxapex or something that's going to want to check it forever. But that's about it, you guys. It doesn't get any setup moves. Its only really status move is Will-O-Wisp. Here, have a quick peek of all of its status moves. You know, you Curse Up if you could run a curse set. Howl if you want to boost its attack by 1, and that's it, guys. That's it. It sets up its own Sunny Day and Will-O-Wisp. So that's it. That's all it does, guys. That's it. It's a very simple to use one-trick pony. Fits on Sun teams, and you click Choice Specs Eruption and do as much damage as possible. So let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for Typhlosion? I almost said Tyranitar. Typhlosion to come into the game and complete the Hisui trio for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And we're getting closer and closer and closer to Pokemon Home dropping very soon. We don't really have, everybody I think kind of saw Typhlosion as the next Tera Raid 7-star, but we don't know who's coming next, and it could be Pokemon Home, and it could be something crazy out of the blue. So now is a very exciting time to see who's coming next into the game. Typhlosion is going to fall off pretty quickly. He's outclassed by like all the other fire types right now. But love you, Gen 2 for life, Gen 1 and Gen 2. Gotta love it, guys. But thank you so much. Please drop a like if you like this. And if there's any other kind of sets for Typhlosion that I'm not seeing or not using or mentioning, drop it in the comments. Let me know if I'm missing something on this guy. But I think it's like one of the most simple, basic one-trick pony Pokemon that there are. And unfortunately, he does get pretty severely outclassed. One Pokemon that I would love to have seen get like a Mega form back in the day, Gen 2, Mega Typhlosion, you know, Mega Feraligatr would have been awesome. So we'll have to see what happens. Love you guys so much. Drop a like. See you in the next one. Take care. God bless.